All right, today we're going to dive deep into the psychology of what you might call the private mind. We're going to break down 6 signs of this really powerful trait known as cognitive independence.
So, let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like you're just navigating life without a script? You know that feeling? Like everyone else got a memo on how to act, what to go after, what to post online, and yours just never showed up?
Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you've probably been called things like private, maybe distant, or even mysterious. But honestly, those labels, they don't even begin to scratch the surface. Let's really get into what's going on inside your head.
Because this isn't about hiding away from the world. No, it's actually a unique kind of strength. And we're going to unpack this whole psychological concept called cognitive independence.
Okay, so what is it exactly? Well, to put it simply, cognitive independence means your sense of self, who you are, is built from the inside out. It's all about your own internal standards, not about chasing public approval. Your brain is just fundamentally wired to go for what makes logical sense to you, not just what's popular.
Think of it like 2 totally different operating systems for your mind. On one side, you've got the search for public approval, conforming to trends, needing those social media likes. And on the other side, you've got following your own internal standards. That means questioning things with logic, finding confidence from within, and creating your very own path. It really all boils down to one thing. Where do you get your validation from?
All right, so we've got a definition down, but how do you actually recognize this trait in yourself? Let's break down the 6 key signs that you might just have this pretty rare strength.
First up, sign number 1. You prioritize logic over popularity. And listen, this is the absolute foundation of cognitive independence. It's not about trying to be difficult or anything, it's just literally how your brain is wired to process the world.
This really gets to the heart of a key internal question. See, while a lot of people are asking, hey, is this popular? Your mind just naturally defaults to a different question. Does this make sense to me? You're just driven to get the why behind things, not just to follow the herd.
And building right on top of that is sign number 2. You rely on internal validation. And wow, in our super connected digital world, this makes a huge, profound difference in how you experience life.
So many people today are kind of caught in this digital applause loop, right? Where their self-worth comes from likes and shares and comments. But if you're cognitively independent, your confidence is shaped by your own personal standards. You don't need to post about an experience to make it feel real, because you can feel genuinely content even when absolutely no one is watching.
This internal focus leads us straight to sign number 3. You value what we'll call cognitive quiet over all that social noise. And just to be clear, this is not about avoiding people. For you, alone time is an absolute necessity for deep thinking.
I mean, think about it. For a mind that's constantly analyzing, connecting dots, silence is fuel. It's not empty, it's productive. Too much social noise can literally overwhelm your brain's ability to process. So choosing to stay in on a Friday night, that's not being antisocial. It's actually intelligent self-regulation. You're just protecting the mental space you need to function at your absolute best.
Okay, on to number 4. You have a natural resistance to what psychologists call normative social influence. I know, it's a technical term, but it basically describes something you already know really well, being immune to peer pressure and that whole fear of being left out.
So while a lot of trends spread simply because people are afraid of being seen as different, your mind is just operating on a whole different level. You're not going to jump on a bandwagon just to fit in because you value how things work over how they look. You're really selective with your mental energy, and you'd much rather invest it in things that truly, genuinely matter to you.
And that selectivity, it leads us right to sign number 5, which is a true sign of mental maturity, high metacognition. So what's that? Simply put, it means you think about your own thinking. You have this really sharp awareness of your own internal thought processes.
This awareness creates a pretty unique internal monologue, right? Instead of stubbornly digging in and defending a position just to save face, your mind has the flexibility to actually ask, wait a minute, what if I'm wrong here? At the end of the day, you're just way more interested in finding the truth than you are in protecting your ego.
And that brings us to our final sign, number 6, which circles right back to the question we started with. You navigate life without a script. These highly independent thinkers, they often feel just a little bit out of sync with the traditional life paths and timelines everyone else seems to be following. So if you've ever felt lost or maybe behind your peers, listen up because this is a really critical reframe. You are not failing. You're just navigating based on your own internal compass. You have an unconventional value system, and it's one that probably prioritizes deep mental fulfillment way more than just checking off a list of social milestones.
So, we've gone through all 6 signs. What's the big takeaway here? Let's talk about the power of this kind of mind. Because, let's be real, in a world that is constantly pushing conformity on us, thinking like this, it's a superpower.
And this analogy just captures it perfectly. Think of the cognitively independent mind as a custom-built, high-performance computer in a world full of simple tablets. You know, a tablet is always connected, right? But your mind is a custom system. It needs that cooling time, that solitude to function. It processes huge files, which is like deep thinking, and it doesn't need to be constantly synced up to the cloud of social approval. It's definitely more complex, but because of that, it can create things that others just can't.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most empowering point. If you've been nodding along, if you recognize yourself in any of this, please understand this. Your independent streak is not a flaw. It's the exact opposite. In a world that is constantly pushing for distraction and conformity, the ability to genuinely think for yourself is your greatest and probably rarest power.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. Now that you have a new way to understand your mind's unique wiring, the real question is, what are you going to create with it?